What's happening, everybody? It's your boy God KOC once again on Uncensored AFTV, and this is a collab effort right now. I'm actually honored to be in the presence of many great people, and the topic that we're going to be talking about is such a like cacophony of such, if you will, that we don't even really open up to, that we should want to and get an understanding on. And I actually got somebody who's heavy in the I wouldn't say heavy in the game, but rather heavy in the topic, and she has a very strong viewpoint on it, and I would like for the world to kind of get the gist, and we all kind of get an understanding. And so without further ado, I'm waiting on somebody else, but without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mariah to the stream. You know what I mean? I think that we all need to know who she is and get to know her. So what's up, Mariah?
I'm Mariah. Well, of course, you guys all know that, but I'm a mom in my everyday life. That's the part of me that you really don't see. I have an 11-year-old son. I work for a company doing legal cannabis sales. So that's my job during the day. And I'm an influencer on Instagram. That's something that kind of fell into my lap. I was formerly on Onlyfans, and I decided to kind of recover from what I had done to make fun of myself. So I needed a way to blend that identity back with who I was and kind of give myself some humanistic characteristics again.
Let me I don't hear your audio. I don't hear your audio.
Hello?
Hey, okay. Yeah, I am here. I am
Before we do anything, I want to introduce another person in the mix. One of the closest people I know, Konshents from Scarab Love, you guys. We got Mariah, we got Konshents. Beat on the wall. You already know what time it is. So
yeah, what's up, man? How's everybody doing? I am so sorry that I'm late. I was trying to get some things together before I came in on the stream, and I am a little behind, but I'm here. I'm here. So glad to be here.
she actually just started, so she kind of told a little bit about herself. But
Okay.
go ahead, Mariah, to the question. As far as like the idea of physical sex, especially on OnlyFans, because OnlyFans is such a platform that's an array of things that we know it for, showing what we know it for. And so what is the classifications of sex work?
Well, here's the thing. There's an escalation in it, right? There's an escalation in the conversation. Now, there's an algorithm that OnlyFans has that will flag certain conversation, but you can negate that if you know how to speak on there, right? So people will get off the platform and negotiate, right? And this is almost like prostitution advertisement, right?
Okay.
So how many times do you say no to $10,000?
I wouldn't know. I never been offered $10,000, so I would not know.
So it's like, yeah, you might say no. He might be capping. Yeah, no, you don't know. But if you go, you get your money.
Okay.
So it is what it is.
So I'm gonna let Konshents introduce himself. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, since you guys haven't got that moment yet, and obviously
No, I guess you was already asking the question because you were saying, I think that was levels to sex work, and I guess that's kind of my first idea that I'm interested in is a working definition of what sex work is, only because in this day and age, when people say sex work, I'm from an old school, the old school era where sex work was one thing and one thing only. That was prostitution. It wasn't, stripping was stripping. That's exotic dancing. But when we said sex work, it meant that it was prostitution. Same way that sometimes there is sex in the strip clubs. So it was kind of the first you could call it an advertisement. You see the girls on the pole and then you kind of offer money later. So I guess
Didn't they
strip
say no
clubs
sex in, didn't they say no sex in the champagne room?
in the champagne room. Yeah, exactly.
She said she put a champagne room, so we gotta get on that.
So I guess that was my curiosity at first, is really understanding or us gaining a working definition of sex work, because it was a narrow thought back in the days, and now that it's expanded to voyeurism, which I just think is voyeurism. You know what I'm saying? You want to show nudes, you want to get paid for your nudes, cool. But I didn't necessarily consider it sex work because it was no sex act. Go ahead. That's what I want to know.
Can I be blunt? Can I be?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So shove a butt plug up your butt when you don't want to and tell me that's not work.
So when you said when you don't want to,
it's not all enjoyable. You get up, get ready, right? Prepare yourself, put on whatever outfit they requested, whatever the case may be, whatever the negotiation was. And then you spend time making content and then cutting that content so it all looks nice and pretty, right? So this is not just, oh, wow, this is some enjoyable thing all the time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I don't think anything that I'm a musician. I rap, I spit. As a matter of fact, like I do live performances, but when I was doing it for fun, it was a lot different than getting up and having to do it because it's how I make money. I think anything that you start to do for money kind of loses the zeal or the happiness in it, because it's no longer by choice. It's because, hey, if I don't do this, the bills don't get paid. So no matter if I want to or not, I got to get up and make it happen. And so I don't take away anything from, if you're an OnlyFans model and you got to pay the bills by, love sense, one of those vibrators, or whatever you do on your channel. I guess I just still saw it as it's work. It's I would say X-rated TV, but I guess, like I said, when I hear the word sex, I always think of a sexual act being performed for sex work. And so I'm just saying, I'm being enlightened now that it's a broader category, and just trying to see where does it stop. Because I mean, what if someone sells sex products? Is that still in the field of sex work, or is it only...
because the act isn't being committed.
Okay.
Right? I think, in my perception, when you are in the act is when that is now considered work, because you are getting paid to do sexual acts.
Okay. So you're saying that if you're on your camera and someone says, hey, I want you to play with this dildo or something of that nature, and you obviously do it because of the money, now we're in sex work because someone is paying you to do sexual acts, whether it's, toys or whatever, not necessarily from your own arousal, but from the fact that they want it done and you need to get paid.
Right.
So, okay, that makes sense. I totally makes sense. That gives a definition to it.
Okay, so I guess into the lead of the next question, what makes this separate from the sex industry? Is it not the same, or is it something
I think it's something that's simultaneous, right?
Yeah, I was going to say...
We want to say the sex industry is different because that makes it sound better on paper. But in reality, it's all encompassing, right? It's just that we don't want to talk about these uncomfortable parts. So, like prostitution especially, that's something that people just turn a blind eye to and don't talk about, right? But it's really frequent, really common. It's happening.
Now, just let me know if is this too personal? Have you participated in, is it OnlyFans, or are you, a picture model, or is there any part of it that you don't mind talking about? That's all I'm saying, that you don't mind talking about.
I soloed and I did pictures.
Okay.
So,
And so,
yeah, I don't mind sharing that. It was out there. I mean, what am I gonna act like it didn't
it's
happen?
already out there now. Huh?
It's already out there.
True.
Like, it is what it is.
Well, what got you involved into the?
Yeah, I would like to know how did you get into it? What made you decide to go into sex work?
Well, I was a little bit just kind of between a rock and a hard place. And my friend told me about a way to make fast cash. So I was just like, okay, cool. I'll do this and make it work. Right. So I did it. I hated it.
Really?
I hated it.
That's not a shock.
Hated it. Like, it's the thing, like, there are very normal requests, but there are obscene requests, right? Requests that I'm like, what happened to you?
Now I'm curious. What's the craziest thing somebody tried to get you to do?
I don't know if it's craziest, but it's to me the weirdest. And I said no. He wanted me. Do you know what roly-polies are?
You mean the pill bugs? The little wood louse is the scientific term. But yes, I know what they are.
He wanted me to get naked and stomp all over them. I joke and say tap dance on them because in my head, right, I think about my digital footprint. So in my head, if I'm doing this and I'm tap dancing all over the bugs, do I want to go viral for this?
Like that, honestly, it's so funny because it's like, that seems like some viral stuff only because of how out there it is.
Right.
Like,
so that was the most
that's your brand.
bizarre.
It becomes your brand after you done did everything else. Then this becomes the brand.
Right. So I didn't want that to be like what I was known for the rest of forever, because
Understood.
we've all seen those movies.
Absolutely. All right. So I would say, we asked, how did you get in it? Was there any, well, you said that you fell on hard times. So this is why
nobody ever wakes up thinking, oh my God, let me do sex work. It's not the let me do this, right? You don't see girls from the Hamptons and Beverly Hills doing it unless they lose their money, right?
Okay.
So maybe you have people like Black China, right? Didn't she clear like $2 million?
Yeah,
right?
She got a bag.
Made her money.
She got a bag.
Right?
And then she went to Jesus.
And then you have maybe some celebrities that are just some freaks on leashes.
True.
And that's about it. But beyond that, the general demographic are women who need money in a pinch.
Okay.
So
that's you're so on point, because that was more lining up towards the next line of question that I'm curious about. Okay, because I thought that, and I've been across seas where there are red light districts. I was in Singapore and they had one, and in those places, it's broad daylight. You're walking. I mean, common people, citizens walking down the street, but on the other side of the street is hotels, and it'll be a guy and maybe 3 girls, and it'll be a different, almost look like little booths in front of the hotels that you could go over, talk to the guy, talk to one of the girls, and then just rent the room out for the time being and come back. And it's so open. It's not even like a seedy looking dark alley. I mean, it's like any, a regular old street where you got different mothers or fathers or whatever walking down the street. So my thought was, do you think that sex work is only reserved for women who may be in a pinch only because it's looked so bad upon over here? And do you think that if it was not so, sort of like what Amber Rose was trying to do, she was trying to have the slut walk to kind of take away some of the stigma of I guess would be sex work. And I'm just wondering that if sex work didn't have such a negative stigma, do you think more women would do it?
That would have to be a whole social construct change in this country. So I don't know what that would look like, right? Because it's just like Jim Crow, for example. You can change the law, but you don't change the social construct, right?
The way people feel about it. Gotcha.
Right. So
that's good. That was
I couldn't make a guess. Would more women do it? I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think I would say as I would say softcore, considering that I would imagine not all OnlyFans models necessarily are advertising for a actual sexual connection. Maybe they're just going to do their pictures. Go ahead.
The thing is, when you're in those dialogues, you're in those messages, you're not putting everything out, right? You're trying to negotiate to get tips, right? So you give the tip of the iceberg on your timeline, get them hook, line, and sunk, and then you get them to message you, and that's how you sell content. You get them to tip you, okay? That's where the meat and the potatoes are.
Okay.
It's not in those $10 subscriptions. That's just to give you a sustainable baseline income for the month. But those tips is where you're making money.
Got you. So that's kind of how, if you're in OnlyFans, you will find yourself being at least propositioned for sexual encounters. That's why you were saying, how many times do you turn down 10,000? Heck, how many times do you turn down 1,000 if the rent due? You know what I mean? So I guess that does give it a in my mind, I was separating the two ideas.
Just to clarify, I never met up with anybody.
Okay.
But cool. That was, I never did. Like, I got in and got out. It wasn't for me, right? When I saw how heinous some of the things that people would ask me to do, and then it being people that I know too. Because some people would go by their government names on the site, like, which I thought was always bold, right? I knew a guy, he knew that I did this, right? I have to tell everybody that before I date them, like, hey, I did this, because I now have this platform I'm building, and I can't hide that, right? It's just out there. So instead of living in a lie, I just live in the truth, right? Now, this gives them the option to participate with me, right? I've had men say no, not a lot, but I have had men say no, that's not for me. And you know what? Okay, if that wasn't going to be for you, I wasn't going to be for you.
Got you.
So the thing is in that dynamic, I had this male friend, he had asked me, he said to me, I got this girl's number from OnlyFans, we're on Snapchat, or I got this girl's Snapchat on OnlyFans, we're on Snapchat, we're negotiating for pictures. The girl asks him for the money. He sends the money. She sends the pictures because she said for $250, she'd empty her camera roll. So she sent her whole camera roll and then unsent it, right? So she finessed him and then proceeded to tell him that she was going to extort him, right? And he had his government name on there, right? This is why I think that it's I don't think that every scenario ends like this, right?
Mm.
Most people don't. But it's just important to use discretion in these circumstances.
So, if I may, because what you just brought up kind of segues into your story when you getting in on people. I want to show, and I'm pretty sure we're going to do it in the post. I'm gonna try to record it, but I want just to hear a little bit of you kind of getting on men, just getting on people real quick in one of your stories, real quick, if y'all don't mind.
Because see. We were diverging because I guess for me now thinking about it, considering the fact that OnlyFans and these things are not going to stop. I mean, it's a tale old as time. It's since Samson and Delilah, since forever sexuality has been an industry or in some sort or capacity. You know what I'm saying? And I guess for me, it's like now that it's so prevalent, you can see the dangers. Because I was going to say in that same situation, that guy was finessed. What if he retaliated about the finessing? What if he, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people are, stalked or found, or, you know what I mean? So I guess for me, I was going to ask you, have you ever had to deal with anybody who was a little bit overzealous? I want to say, I don't want to call a stalker necessarily, but have you ever had anybody where you had to deal with that type of situation?
I had somebody who had seen me off the account, and I didn't know he had subscribed, and he badgered me, and I mean, he was saying like vulgar things like, I've seen your pussy, these things, like things of this nature, like just, I don't know what he was trying to like accomplish with this. But yeah, I did, and I went off on him. And
I was gonna say, now we're kind of into going off on men, where he was asking about, hearing you go off on men. So basically, you backed him down by expressing yourself. I won't say aggressively, but very sternly. How about that?
If you want to say that.
Being the new female Kevin Samuels, like I said, I wanted to play something of her own fruition, like her own words, and it resonates. And I think I wanted to touch in on how she comes at it. So let's hear it for a second.
So y'all ain't too happy with me after.
Actually, not this one. This one is.
And just like niggas got MOs, women got MOs too. Y'all know the finesse women got. Everybody got a different way of coming at a man. Right? You got the girl that's gonna pop pussy in your face immediately. You got the single mom. You got the cougar. You got the 23-year-old who needs a sugar daddy. You got all these bitches, right? You got bitches on bitches on bitches, just like we got niggas on niggas on niggas, right? We got the guy who pays our bills. We got the guy who buys our food. We got the guy who is our emotional support. Women have man too.
Am I running out of time already? Are you serious? All right, I'm gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna probably have to start it. This is already getting too good, and 40 minutes went by like that,
like nothing. I was like, "Dang, it's 40 minutes already." Shit.
That is
because okay. So when we come back, because that video, and I wanted to talk about actually becoming a place where we have a red light district here, because thinking about safety, it ain't going nowhere. So as long as it's just like weed, we'll talk about it when we come back. Right now, if you're gonna log out and log back in.
Well, it's not gonna just let me log directly out and come right back on. So I got like 9 minutes, and she can definitely touch in on that, like what you just said.
So yeah, that's my the next thing that I wanted to talk about was thinking about the idea. I know OnlyFans is legal, but I mean full-blown prostitution being legalized only because I don't think it's going anywhere.
I was going to go into that next.
Okay.
So,
all right. Cool.
And all the reasons why I think it should be legalized.
Okay. So yeah, that we'd probably be on the same page right there.